Welcome to episode 132, GDPR, 3 ways to make it easier, right?
Well, maybe palatable.
Yeah, maybe not easy, but easier than it would otherwise be, right?
Yeah, having gone through this the hard way.
Right. So I'm Paula Williams.
I'm John Williams.
And we are ABCI, and ABCI's mission is
to help you folks out there sell more stuff in aviation land.
Right, more products and services and things like that so that you can, grow your businesses, take better care of your people, do more R&D. It's better for the industry, better for everyone, right?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Okay, so the nicest thing we can say about GDPR is that it makes the FAA look concise and reasonable. The GDPR actually is a lot of legal documents that are very dense. We are not lawyers. We are not giving legal advice in this podcast. We are just giving you some ideas on how to make some of the sales and marketing tasks that result from the GDPR easier, right?
Exactly. And it wouldn't surprise me after some amount of time if they realize that they're not getting what they wanted out of it and maybe modify it, if not back it out.
Right. And, there's a lot of opinions about this, about, it's actually making more spam rather than less, especially if you're looking at your inbox for the first time over the weekend after having gone through all of the GDPR notices and everything else and the updated privacy policies and everything that you're seeing in your inbox today, right?
You have to give up personal data to be able to view, to get your personal data.
Right. Okay, so once again, this is not legal advice. This is not everything that you have to do. This is just a few of the things that you have to do. If you're not familiar with GDPR, or if you want a really brief summary of a couple of the marketing tasks that result from it, one is you have to ensure that everybody on your email list has opted in. Another is that you have to add a privacy notice to your website if you don't already have it. Another thing that we need to do is add an unchecked box to any form on your website saying it's okay to use my personal information for the purpose that you're collecting it for.
Which means they have to check it.
Which means, the default is that it's not checked, meaning they have to affirmatively acknowledge that they are giving you their information and they understand what you're going to use it for, right? Mm-hmm. And then the fourth thing that you need to do is provide a means for people to remove their personal information from your records. That's called the right to be forgotten. They have a right to request the personal data that you have about them, and they have a right to request that you change their personal data, and make any changes that you want to that, right?
Not too dry.
That wasn't terrible, but once again, that's reducing to 4 lines what is actually several thousand pages of legislation. So
this, again, is not the how-to, this is the what.
This is the what, and it's in a nutshell. So, very, very nutshell-y. That is what it is. But this is not the first or last time that something like this has happened, right?
No, there have been at least 1 or 2 other times before where those that are in power decided on something that happened which causes all of us in business to react.
Exactly. So if you remember the Can-Spam Act of 2003, us old-timers do, it's really not that long ago, right?
No.
So this was George W. Bush on December 16th, 2003, established the United States' first national standards for the sending of commercial email and required the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, to enforce, and that was basically that you had to have permission to send people email and that they could unsubscribe to any email. So if you're using, and a lot of people in aviation have small enough lists that they think they can get away with it, and they're still doing this, sending email using Outlook or using their personal email handler, whatever that is, to multiple of their contacts at the same time. That's what we call broadcasting, and that is actually a violation of the Can-Spam Act. Of course, it's only a violation if people complain.
But if they do, it's expensive.
Exactly. Okay, in 2017, we had the Canadian Anti-Spam Law, or CASL, one of our personal favorites, right? And once again, we had to make some changes to the way that we did email marketing. So basically, it was allows individuals and organizations who receive mail that violates CASL to sue the sender for both actual and punitive damages. Not complying with CASL may result in fines of up to $200 per violation. So if you send thousands of emails, that could amount to a lot of money, right?
That's not the only thing. There's the thousand or $60 million cap on it.
Yeah, something like that. So, it's a lot of money. But why do we care about what Canada does?
Well, you never know where somebody's located. They could have a .com email address up there, and you send it to them, and voila.
Exactly.
Here in Canada.
Right. And, we have customers in Canada, but even if we didn't have customers in Canada, we have no way of knowing if somebody comes to our website and subscribes to our newsletter, if they're in Canada or Norway or New Zealand or, anywhere.
It doesn't matter.
Right. Exactly. We are still liable for email that is opened, even if we sent it to a U.S. person that happens to be on vacation in Canada, and he felt that he was offended in some way by our email or harmed in some way by us wasting his time even, the way again, we're not lawyers, so we can't interpret the law. But, if he was upset about us sending him unsolicited email, we'd be up a creek, right?
Well, it wouldn't be pretty.
It wouldn't be pretty. Okay, and then GDPR in 2018, once again, it's coming from the European Union, but once again, we have no way of knowing whether somebody that comes to our website is from the European Union or not, or how many people who are already on our email list are from the European Union.
That's correct.
So we've been going through this, and my first reaction when I first read about GDPR is it impacts a few of our clients who actually have an office in Europe or who buy and sell products in Europe, but it didn't affect the ones that were based in the United States. But having read more and everything else, we're doing this for most of our clients. So not the first or last time. You can guarantee there's going to be something else that comes down the pipe. But it is not just regulations that change the way we handle websites. All of the rest of these things, just about every time there is a hacking incident, it changes the technology that's used on the web, right?
Of course.
Because people see, somebody had a weakness. We don't want that to happen to us. So we're going to put together the SSL certificates, or we're going to set up another level of security, or we are going to set up something so that, whatever happened to Morgan Chase or Home Depot or Sony doesn't happen to us. So we are changing all the time, and the software that we use for our emails and for our websites is changing all the time because of these incidents, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it goes all the way back to 1998. Robert Morris created the first worm. I think that was actually somebody who was doing a research project. It wasn't even intended to be destructive. And, Comrade hacked the Marshall Flight Center in 1999. I think that was what inspired the movie War Games.
Yeah,
he was 16 years old.
But there were things that happened before 98.
Oh, I'm sure there were. We were just looking at the largest and biggest incidents lately. But you can see, it used to be kind of one every year or one every other year. Pretty soon it's getting to be many, many hacks, most of which are directed at U.S.-based businesses. And there are people who are unhappy about aviation and unhappy about the United States. So being in a business that serves private aviation in the United States, you might think, well, we've got a really low risk, but that's not necessarily true, right?
Nope. In fact, we have assumed we have a very high risk from the perspective of protection of our data.
Exactly. Right. So every time something happens, there's typically a response by the security community. Here's a plugin, or here's a patch, or here's an update that you can use to prevent this sort of thing from happening to you. Okay. Other reasons you might need to change your website or your email marketing or your other online marketing efforts. You may relocate. One of our clients, Special Services Corporation, just moved to the other side of the airport, changed their address, needed some changes made to their website. No problem. We're in there. We took care of it that weekend and printed him some nice posters, and sent some emails out to his customers and things like that. Some of our clients are doctors, lawyers, other people who belong to professional associations, and they are always changing wording that their members can use for advertising. So, a lot of times you'll have to go in and tweak your advertising to comply with your association rules, whatever those are, or a code of ethics that you comply with because of whatever situation you're in.
True.
You might change your staff or your team members, so you need to have your emails come from someone else, or you might need to change the About Us page on your website. Those are things that happen all the time. Changing demographics of customers. You may decide, I am reaching too many people in the local area and I want to serve a different area, or I'm reaching people who are, in fact, one of our clients we just talked to said, all of my clients are too old. I need to start reaching younger people, so I need to change some things on my website, maybe change some of the content and the photography and the video and other things to make it a little more modern to meet the expectations of a younger customer set, right?
And that's where you really encounter GDPR, the Can Spam Act, and so on. You have to be very careful when you assign those people how you market to them.
Younger people?
Yeah.
Right.
Because you haven't marketed to them already.
That's true. Marketing internationally, this is where that really comes in. So you decide you want to do marketing in the European Union or Canada or Mexico or Latin America, anywhere. You are going to want to change some pages on your website. You're going to want to get some translation done. You're going to want to change the way that you use your website and your email, right?
Yes.
Okay. To add or reposition a product or service, once again, you're going to want to change the structure and maybe the navigation on your website.
Mm-hmm.
To counter a move by a competitor. He's got a price or a bundle or something like that. You want to have something that says, here's how ours compares, maybe a checklist or a side-by-side, here's product A and product B.
Oh, heaven forbid.
Naming names or not, either way. So, those are all ways that you're going to want to probably update the information on your website more than you have in the past. So, how do you make it easy and flexible and cool and not expensive to make all these changes all the time?
Well, how would you do it?
Well, we have a formula for you, right?
Ah.
Okay, so WordPress plus a CRM plus a person to manage all this for you, right?
Yep.
Okay. Does that look like me?
No.
It doesn't? Okay, good. Just checking, we got an avatar. So let's tell you why each of these components. So first of all, WordPress is the most popular platform on the internet. So just like if you have a Cessna 172 and it breaks somewhere in the world, chances are you're going to be able to find parts for it much easier than if you have a Mooney or something that's less popular, right?
Yep.
Okay. So if you have WordPress, there's a lot more people that can work on it legitimately, There's also a lot more people who are working on WordPress and developing what we call plugins. So, those security updates and other things that we talked about, those are developed by people who work on WordPress. And there's a huge market for WordPress plugins. So we've got a lot of developers who are building things for WordPress, and then people like us can buy them and use them for our clients, right?
And popular also means that there's a lot of them out there.
Exactly. So it is much more stable than something that is not being used by very many people. So this is the number of websites on the internet that are using a particular platform.
Percentage.
Right, by percentage. So over 59% of keeps getting bigger as people realize the value of having a really updatable and flexible platform.
Yep.
Right? Okay. The second thing is to have a good CRM. So before the GDPR came out, our platform, our CRM, which is Infusionsoft, came out, they knew that all of their customers were going to need a way to make this easy. So what they did is they put together a helper campaign that we could simply plug in and change the names, dates, logins, logos, other kinds of things for each of our clients. So this is a lot less expensive and a lot less work and a lot less time, or at least get this piece of their GDPR together.
Most companies have some structural things to resolve as well as this.
Exactly. But at least getting the email out, the requirement to have everyone opt in to your list using that specific wording, they had all this set up and templatized. So all we have to do is take something that already exists and modify it. So you can see we go through that consent email, which goes to a web form. They can fill that out saying, take me off your list, or I want to see what information you have on me, or remove me entirely, or I'm completely fine with what you have. And either way, it adds a tag in your CRM. All of this is automatic, so you end up with all of your customers on your list tagged with either they didn't respond to the email, they did respond to the email positively, or they requested information or whatever. If they request information, it sends it to them automatically. Takes a whole lot of work out of the deal, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So other CRMs, and this is a customer relationship management system, not a crew resource management, which is the other term in aviation that everybody uses. But in marketing, any marketing nerd that you talk to is going to think customer relationship management. And some that you may have or that you may have heard of, Salesforce is one, Infusionsoft, of course, is another, ActiveCampaign. There are other things that serve some of this purpose, and those would be the email automator or email broadcasters like MailChimp and Constant Contact, among others, that send email, but they don't necessarily do the back-end stuff like tagging your
Right.
contacts and doing all the documentation. So check with your CRM or software, whatever it is. Maybe they do have something similar to this if you need to comply. Okay, and then the third thing is to have someone manage all this. And what we do with our clients, or the best deal if someone needed to become GDPR compliant or have their web presence meet all of these requirements really quickly, and they had an old website, what we would recommend is what we call our website refresh, plus our marketing lab. So the website refresh, what it does is it takes your old website, we go through it with a 31-point checklist and say, here are the things that we recommend changing and updating based on what we see and what are the industry best practices and other kinds of things that are going on in the world, right? Okay, so we go through your website with this checklist. We decide on the changes that need to be made. We discuss those with you, and if we agree, we go forward and recreate your website using WordPress, if it's not already in WordPress. If it is already in WordPress, then that's even better because less time, less money, right?
Of course.
Okay, so once we've done that, then we support those websites and a lot of your other marketing efforts for as little as $279 a month. And that's our marketing lab or our insider circle. A lot of people know it by that name as well. And what that does is it gives you 1 hour a month to work on anything that you need. So this month, right, with sales and marketing. So with a lot of our clients this month, we've been working on GDPR, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then you can use your office hours to keep up with those changes, whether they be security, whether they be a relocation, whether they be, a change in your strategy or your products or whatever, right?
And for 3 more days, or 4, you have a sale.
Yeah, we do have a sale going on. This is half price through the end of May. So if you're listening to this before the end of May 2018, now's probably as good a time as there's ever going to be to get into that program. So, and that will include the website refresh, even if we haven't finished it. If you contract with us before the end of the month, we will honor that, right?
Of course.
Yes, of course. Okay. Cool. So, once again, how to make it easier. WordPress plus a CRM, right? Plus a person who will manage all of this for you, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's our best prescription. For any other questions or problems, or if you want to talk about this further and talk about what it means to you or any particular specific situation, use the Let's Talk button in the lower left-hand corner of our website, and we would be happy to schedule 30 minutes with you and sit down and talk, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Have a great day.